Hello everyone, this is Snide and Sniff with something quite different to normal. This is a tutorial. Most people probably won't be interested, but who cares? We need to diversify, that's what I always say. Here we go, we've got the default Blender scene. You could sculpt it in ZBrush initially, but ZBrush costs money, and I mean, considering people aren't willing to spend like $1 a month on people's Patreons, they're probably not willing to put like a K into the software. So yeah, we're doing it entirely in Blender, and that should give us decent results, despite the fact that Blender sculpting does not really feel as good, but not to say you can't do amazing stuff with the tools they have there. So firstly, you could make a head base mesh, but it won't really help that much.
What do you mean by head base mesh?
You could make a primitive shape that somehow represented the face, but that's not really necessary. You can just, I don't know, I just prefer to sculpt it all entirely. Obviously, you don't want it to be a square, otherwise that is just going to make your job a lot more difficult for no reason, so we're going to subdivide it 3 times, then apply the subdivision. I mean, we're not going to go over super basic keys, though you probably don't even need that amount of knowledge. This is going to be mostly sculpting at the moment, so it's all going to be about your skill, not knowledge, so yeah.
Wow.
You've got this applied, not anything else we have to do. As you can see, we've got our ref images set up. Pretty simple thing, just get whatever is the most useful angle so you can approximate where the geometry is going to be located, and the general the shape of the face, which is super important here, though it probably won't line up to the 3/4 because we'd probably have to make the cheeks just stupidly massive to match up with that. He doesn't have to care about that, he's a 2D pleb, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, I'm probably already going too quickly for 99% of our audience, but let's get into sculpt mode and begin. Just symmetry is on by default, no need for that, but what we do want is topo. So relative detail, I think I'll go, I'm used to brush detail, so we'll go brush detail. You could go constant detail. I always used to like when it was set to constant detail before, then they swapped it to zoom in detail, and that I don't like that at all. If you don't already know, with Blender, Shift smooths, Control inverts the function. With grab, that's kind of useless, but with other stuff, it's extremely useful. So yeah, firstly, 1.5. That's just to make the face a bit more of the shape we want, using the grab tool. It doesn't have to be okay. Yeah, that's. And also, what you want to do is get the neck out initially, otherwise it's going to be a pain adding it later. Let's okay, masking's annoying in Blender. I'll just add it with the clay strips. Oh yeah, we have topo, so yeah. Grab doesn't utilize topo, but that's a good thing in this case. I don't want to make it super low res in the vertices by using a big grab brush. So you add the neck, just how you'd expect really, not pretty straightforward. We're not onto the difficult bit yet.
If you are, like, have no idea what's going on or anything, or have no idea about basic Blender stuff, there are plenty of tutorials about, you know, learning the basic Blender UI and things, so this is not like
Yeah, well, we could do that, but that's been done so much. You can find any weird guy you want to tell you how to use the basic functionality.
So this is more about the actual how to achieve a high quality.
Didn't topo not working on the beat? Why does smooth should wait? The smooth, I guess smooth doesn't add that. Oh yes, smooth. I guess in this, smooth does not add extra vertices, I guess here. So I won't be able to use the smooth thing that you do in ZBrush, but nonetheless, what is going to be done is the same. Just probably get some more room, smoothing it a bit, adding more vertices to it. This should probably be a bit Is this making it more? Oh yeah, babe, it's not. You can't smooth shed more vertices. You want the babe. Okay, so yeah, just making the face a little bit more to the shape we want. Another thing you want to be doing, obviously it's very early at the moment, we don't have any of the features in, but we can start adding those a little bit now. Mostly the nose, I guess the nose is important, obviously. How do I make this super detailed? Is this gonna make it super detailed? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's not what I want. Lol, I want it to be a little bit. Okay, no, that's still too detailed. I'll tweak this to like 10%. Yeah, I think this is a good detail level. So obviously you want to have the front and the side available so that you can match them up, because if you have those matched up, you've effectively got the face most of the way there. So I'll get the grab brush again and ensure we've got the face in a nice shape. Unlike normal faces, these are extremely wide, but you still want to obey basic anatomical rules, otherwise it's going to look even horrible. So yes, very large, as with a lot of stylized stuff, the jaw is quite far out and there's a very large, instead of being a flat, ugly nose like most normal people have, it's a very a sloped nose. Okay, so yeah, the nose is very small on these. So this would probably help if I had some alternate brushes, but unless the square default or I think it's square, should be okay. So yeah, we need to get back to G and try and get this looking somewhat like the side view we have here. Okay, so a general thing is the flat sides of the head. Obviously don't want to exaggerate it, but it's no matter how stylized you're going, you have to ensure that the bone structure still somewhat represents a normal human. There's not too much of the front of the face is pretty much just round on JayKuma's stuff, so the mouth region's not going to be all that difficult, I would say. Probably help a bit if we started putting the eyes in at this point, though obviously the head does not look great. It looks very silly at the moment, which is to be expected. So despite what a normal fat person would be, these necks are very far back. Obviously you have to look at the head from all angles to ensure that it is not just gonna look weird from the side or etc. The side of the head is a lot simpler though. The front view is generally the most important though. Obviously you need to ensure it looks good from the side as well. Okay, these eyes need to be far apart. Okay, I'll start cutting this away and getting some of the eye area. Yeah, I'll raise the where the brow currently is, but I'll add to it so we have a larger eyebrow area here, but that's mostly just going to be important when we put the eyes in, and the eyes are probably the most annoying bit in general. There are some ways to make it a bit easier, but it's been annoying. Yeah, well, as we can add ears at any time, there's no real... The ears are not important. And yeah, there's not a lot of... There's this... A lot of the time there's the issue of the head not having a good shape, and but if you're making a bald character, obviously you need to spend a lot of time with that. Not most of the time. The problem is the hair having the same issue. Okay, so yeah, still looking weird, but obviously anything is going to look a lot better with the eyebrows, eyelashes, etc. But if there's not actually any substance behind what's underneath it, it's still gonna not look that great. Okay, so we want to... these, they sort of don't really have a chin, but probably want to center the chin quite far back. I guess they do have a somewhat distinct jaw though. We'll need to ensure that it's done well. Okay, let's return to object mode and add the eyes. So, Shift A. Anyone should know how to add objects. So yeah, let's go into edit mode so we retain the origin. Rotate it 90 degrees. Move it into position and then add a mirror. And the eyes are actually they vary a bit in the reference images, but generally they are gigantic. So yeah, well, obviously we're gonna have to ensure that is reflected on the model. So they look very long, so probably the actual eye size is huge. So yeah, see they're probably, I don't even know how far apart these are. And after we've done that, we can just go back into here and start shaping the head around the eyes we've just put in.
I mean, the pictures of like how large are anime characters' eyeballs logically, and then you see like it's like, oh well, if this is how big they are in their head, then their eyeball is this large. It's pretty terrifying. The kind of sizes the anime characters' eyes get to. A lot of them wouldn't even
be able to both fit in their head at the same
time.
That
is true. People's eyeballs are pretty big.
Yes, they're a lot larger than they look. Okay, these are quite large, but actually I probably just need to build more over them. These don't look too bad in size. The nose is weird with these and most anime-esque nose approaches for that matter, because of the fact that it's not really gonna, it's barely visible. So currently, yeah, it looks awful, and it's hard to say what it's going to look like with all the everything else on it at this point.
It's not looking too bad, I'd say.
It's not. It's somewhat reflecting the shape I want, but there's still probably a lot to be done. So, yeah, these are the right eye sizes. I'll actually, what I should probably, maybe I need to shrink the eyes a bit. Or maybe I'll just get the grab again and structure this more around them, cover more of them. We still want to retain roundness, of course. Okay, so yeah, this is not looking too bad, but it's good to refine it as much as possible. Though you can go ahead and add some features to it to get a better visual representation of what it's going to look like, without having to finalize the head, obviously. Okay, so I'll get on and add the mouth. Adding an open and a closed mouth are two very different processes. And I'll just go with a closed mouth for the moment. I'll just go with a smiley mouth.
That's a very cute mouth, I have to say.
Closed mouths are very easy to add. And,
That's a really cute mouth.
You could add a little. Actually, this one is complete. Actually, now I do zoom in on it, a lot of anime mouths will have just a gap in the middle, which doesn't even need to be added at all. Or you could add it. It depends on the situation. And obviously more prominent at the sides. And despite the fact that it's not visible on the side image, you want to add lips to it, which it won't make it look like the side image, but with the side image you don't really want the mouth to be on the side of the face. That would be impossible to do symmetrically, which is not what we want. A lot of the time anime images will not have barely any or no upper lip at all. But I'll probably...
Often no lower lip either.
Yes, no lips, which makes them look kind of weird. But I'll get the pinch and I'll add quite a bit of an upper lip here. And then I'll go again with the crease and try and define this a bit more. Okay, so the mouth doesn't look too bad. So 30 minutes and there you go, already looking somewhat okay. The eyes look weird. Another thing we should probably add, so that we know what the face is going to look like, is the eyebrows. And in ZBrush you can, and in this too for that matter, you can. Okay, let's get into edit mode. We don't want this changed. You could just mask on some eyebrows, but that could cause some issues if you want to edit the forehead. So we can just add just some separate objects. And okay, with some difference in thickness, maybe I'll go with thicker eyebrows that are easier to see.
Yeah, that Viking lady.
Oh yes, these are in sculpt mode at the moment. Okay, so
that Viking lady's eyebrows look quite nice.
Oh yeah, wait, we're gonna have to apply the mirror before we can go into turn topo, but that's not an issue. Okay, so just making these a bit high res, then squishing them about a bit. I'll make them look similar to the Vikings. These are probably a bit large. Let's see if... No, X mirror doesn't work. I'll just temporarily add the mirror again. And scale them down and get them to a good position. Make this smooth shading. Okay, so here we go. somewhat looking like a head.
I guess it's looking pretty good at the moment, but we will be back with the next part of it, showing you how to make the rest of it.
I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, people, and I hope to see you in the next video.